Hi there, friend. Welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. You having a good day today? I certainly hope so. And I want to welcome you every single day. I try to remember to welcome the new folks because as many stations as we're on 15 stations for the Christian Television Network, and maybe you're viewing from Dish TV, Direct TV, Sky Angel, Internet, whatever. I'm confident there are new ones every day, and I want you to know that you are welcome to this Homekeeper family, and we have so many regular people who support and pray for us, and you know, I hope you know how much we love you, and thanks for being here. And this is really a good day, beautiful day here in Central Florida, and I have for my guest today Dr. Daisy Sutherland. She is a doctor of chiropractic, and she is a mother of 5, homeschooled all of them, and took time to write a book. And the book is titled Letting Go of Supermom. And we're going to be talking about this. It is a wonderful book, and kind of it's going to set you free. I think moms, you know, we maybe live with some guilt that we're not doing everything just exactly right, and then that Proverbs 1 woman makes us really nervous and all, and here is a gal with so much on her plate, but yet found time to write a book. And the things that are in it are very helpful, and we will show you her website and all how you can get that. I'm going to join Stephanie in the kitchen for another disaster. We have a disaster to kind of present to you today, and we're going to make a peanut butter cookie that didn't turn out the way the recipe said it should. We'll show it to you, and we'll show you how we do it. But it brought back a lot of memories because my mom didn't bake and that kind of thing a whole lot. She was pretty good at it. And we never had things like potato chips and store-bought cookies and all. And now I know what a blessing that was. But when she did make a cookie, it was a peanut butter cookie. And so the aroma in here, you know, took me back to my childhood. And these cookies don't look like hers, but we're going to show you what we're doing with them anyway. But before I join her, please let me remind you, and please think about this. Some of you have watched this for so many years, and perhaps you've intended to support us. And I only ask, I'm not going to promise you a whole lot of anything except what the Bible tells, but when you give, then it comes back to you. And if you've intended to support this ministry over the years and you haven't done it, let it happen today. And we're going to put the address up. And if you write to us, that's Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. Or just use the number there if you like to give that way, 1-800-229-0059. And we'll thank you so much for it. And I know the Lord blesses a giver, because I'm a giver and he blesses me. And Stephanie here, she's a giver. And before we proceed, I appreciate this kind of thing so much. We're just stuck in an envelope. Dear Arthelene, I enjoy your programs. They are very uplifting, informative. Thank you for all your hard work. And it is hard work, don't you agree? Women need a program such as this. Thank you. Thanks just for taking the time. Because, you know, you lift a person's day when you do that. Do that to a lot of people you meet, and it'll help them. Okay, we had these great...
You know, this is called life. Everything doesn't always work out like it's supposed to.
These are supposed to, you roll them in a ball, and then when they're finished, you just stick a Hershey's Kiss in them, but they flattened out. But let's do it anyway.
I think we figured out it was because I probably shouldn't have put them in the refrigerator. The pan got cold, the cookie got cold, and then against the heat, it might have flattened them out, so don't put them in the fridge.
So maybe on a future...
Cook them immediately. We had to wait because I made them this morning. I didn't want to leave them out, but yeah, I won't do that with this batch, and they'll probably turn out.
This is a cup of just plain old peanut butter.
And a cup of sugar. And I'm just going to cream that a little bit. Let me get this creamed up real quick. Cookies are my absolute favorite. I love baking at the holidays.
I do too. And I was talking about my mom's peanut butter cookies. She'd put them in there, and she'd always take a fork. And
my sister-in-law Gail makes probably hundreds of cookies at Christmas time. She's up in Pennsylvania. We went up there one year. We spent days just making cookies. It was fabulous.
Does she do the
And
real
then-
decorative
Oh yeah, she
ones?
does like the stained glass ones and the ones
Oh
with
my
a million
gosh.
different ingredients, and yeah. So we'll do an egg.
An egg, okay.
And a teaspoon of vanilla. we're
Well,
gonna put in there.
Dr. Sutherland has a chapter in her book, and we'll talk about it if we get to everything in the book, about the importance of the holiday traditions. And
Well, what great gifts, you know? A
Yeah.
big plate of homemade cookies made from your heart. Just good stuff. Just get
I
this-
remember when my daughters, I was never around my my son's children as much because they live further away, but I remember when Meredith's boys were a lot younger, they'd sit up on the counter, go, my turn, you know, if one gets to put an egg in, they're just slapping it, my turn this time.
Yeah, we have pictures of my daughter and my niece on the counter making cookies with my sister-in-law. Alexis was probably 3 years
Yeah.
old. She had so much fun.
And, you know, we rerun once in a while, but we're making this in September. And people are already thinking about
Oh
holidays.
yeah, I might start making cookie dough now and freezing it, and then I'll be ahead of the schedule.
I'm going to try one of these to make sure they're
Yes,
okay.
please do. And then what I do to make sure I kind of half it and half it, because then we'll know we'll get like the same amount in each. So we know we want to get, makes 2 dozen, so we know we want to get 6 cookies out of each.
And what's supposed to happen, you just roll them in a ball, and you bake them until they start that cracking a little bit.
It's just about 10 minutes.
And then as soon as you get them out, you pop the kiss in them.
Now these kisses are right side up. They suggest doing it upside down
Yeah.
because it's a lot easier for if you're packing them like in a cookie tin or something.
But these, maybe on a later show we can tell you, you know, that these turned out like
This
they're
will
supposed
come out. I'm sure this batch will come out better.
to. Okay.
I just aired. That's what happens, you know. It happens in the kitchen occasionally. And I'm sure you'll bring this one up again. So.
Well, we already did one redemption cookie
Yes.
thing.
I never thought that this would have to be a redemption show. Not in a million years.
Maybe we could eventually just run a week of
Redemption
shows.
I'm
yeah.
up for it.
Yep.
Everything doesn't always work out, but I bet they still taste great. Everyone's dying to jump in on them.
Yeah.
So
I'll let
taste
you know.
one and let me know.
Okay, I already had.
They
Guess
still
what? It
tastes good, right?
tastes like a good peanut butter cookie.
Yep.
So, if you want this, the information's coming up on your screen, and let us know if you have a good success with it. It's always interesting to know.
Or send us your favorite cookie recipes, and then maybe during the holidays we'll
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't
That's a
that be
good
fun?
idea. Do that.
yeah.
Okay, stay with me. Meet my new best friend, Dr. Daisy Sutherland. We'll be back. All right, I'm glad to have Dr. Daisy Sutherland join me on the set. We're going to talk about her book, Letting Go of Supermom. I'm very curious, by the way, welcome. We're so glad to have you. I'm very curious as to your own background. Growing up, was it a Christian home? What kind of parents and all that put you on this course? I think it's huge that you would choose to become a doctor and homeschool 5 kids at the same time.
Oh, wow.
There has to be a foundation there.
Kind of, sort of. I was one of 3 girls, and it was a very strict Spanish household. And one thing that was definitely instilled in us was that we needed to go to school, because my parents, being immigrants coming to the United States, becoming citizens and working, they knew how difficult it was to earn a living, and they didn't want their girls to have to suffer like they did. And I don't think they really suffered as much, but they thought they did. And so they instilled education. That was really important. I believe I was the only one that really went all the way. My other sisters did attend college, and they do have careers, but I had to go farther. Yeah,
Were you the type A?
Yes, I think I still am in ways. I've learned to let that go a little bit. But I decided I wanted to, of course, I changed course several times of what I wanted to become since I was a little girl, but I always knew I wanted to help people, and that led me to the road of becoming a doctor. And I wanted to help people in a way where I can teach them about their bodies and staying healthy, which led to the road of becoming a chiropractor. And fast forward to 5 children, never thought I would have those. God had a different plan for me. And then homeschooling, of course, I was the oddball out, and they never thought homeschooling was going to work out.
Enormous.
It did. They thought I was a little loony. That's okay. I tend to live up to that description quite often. But we prayed. I prayed a lot. I would say about 6 months. I really did some deep soul searching and praying to determine if homeschooling was the right decision for us. And my husband, he just went along with it and said, you know, if this is what you want to do.
Who is also a doctor.
He's also a chiropractor. So we had the intention of having a huge family chiropractic office, both of us working and having our children. And like I said, God had bigger and better plans for us and blessed us with 5 children. And then we just decided, I think this is the best thing to do, was to homeschool. It's never been a fun road, but we're learning, still learning.
At what age did you meet the Lord? Because that usually is hopefully a part of the direction you take.
I was raised in a Catholic home, and I went to a parochial school, and you would think that I would have known the Lord then. And it was very ritualistic. And I followed the rituals of going to church, but really didn't know the Lord and everything that Jesus Christ did for us. It wasn't until my oldest entered school age, and she was going to go into a private Christian school. And I walked in there, and they told us she needed to have a Bible. And I was like, oh
my.
Okay, she needs to have a Bible. I think that's a good thing. Being raised a Catholic, we didn't have to.
Yeah.
We went to church and listened to the priest. And so I said, okay, I gotta go get a Bible. Where do I go? So I went to the nearest Christian bookstore. And of course, they thought I was a little loony again, because I was like, I need an NIV. I'm not quite sure what that is. And they were like, okay, this is where you go. And that was my first experience. It was getting my own Bible. That was awesome. And learning along with my child. And she was 5 at the time. And it was a wonderful experience. And that's truly when I accepted Christ.
Yeah, it just dawned on me, because I've, been in this all my life, and in touch with so many missionaries, and how countries want to keep the Bible out because it's so life-changing, like North Korea and places like this. Well, even a lot of the Middle East countries and all.
Right.
And here's just one singular situation in the United States where you've learned a few religious things, but you get that Word of God in your hand and in your mind and heart.
It was amazing.
It's radical.
To have my own Bible. It was great. And a whole new world opened up for me.
Oh man, what a lesson. Okay, now you want us to, we've already established that you're a super mom.
No.
Anybody who has a medical practice and 5 kids and homeschools them, you fit that description. But you say we need to let go of her.
Yes.
Because there are probably a lot of women out there who are trying to be super moms with 1 child and a job and so forth. Was there some kind of an epiphany when you decided, okay?
Yes, that little proverbial light bulb went off, like the cartoons. It definitely went off in my head when I found myself running around with the children, because they were homeschooled, so I figured they needed social activities so they can get that interaction with other children. So beside the church activities, which they were very involved in, they were also involved in baseball and cheerleading and everything that I can find to get them involved with other children we were doing. And I never really stopped to ask them what they wanted to do. I took the initiative and placed them in all these things because I thought that was the best thing for them. It wasn't until my youngest, who's now 9, was 5 years old, and said, Mom, I don't want to go to baseball. I was like, what? You don't want to go to baseball? What do you mean you want to go to baseball? And I thought that he would because his older brother did. Again, me thinking and not allowing them to voice their opinion. And that's when I took a step back and said, what am I doing? This is crazy. Why am I doing all of this?
I know moms that are just driving. They are taxi cabs. And as far as the social interaction, I think that's such a myth.
It is.
Because if you have your children involved in church activities, they're fine. I think the truly dumb thing is to have a class full of 35-year-olds together for them to interact.
They
How
get
crazy.
bad habits. I truly, it was, I don't know if I was just falling into the trap of thinking that I had to
That's
do
the
all
American
of that.
way.
Exactly. And when I pulled back and asked all of my children, is this what you really want to do? Do you really want to do cheerleading? Do you really want to do dance? They were afraid to answer truthfully. And I said, no, really, truthfully, tell me. I really want to know.
There are no weapons here.
Yes, exactly. And they said, no, we don't really want to do this. We were doing this for you. Major light bulb. Major.
Yeah, I think Dr. Dobson once said, if you have a child at home till they're 9, they're really established, you know. And we got pre-kindergarten, everything else going on. Okay, you talk about in your book, let me mention this again, and let's get the website up. We'll leave it up the rest of the show. Boy, this would be a great gift, let me tell you. I think for all women. But the reason I say that, the way it is laid out is so entertaining. It will hold your interest. I don't know who did that, but
great publishers.
It really is a great book.
They're awesome.
But you talk about letting go of being a super mom, but becoming a power mom.
Yes.
All right, we need to know how that
works. The difference. Super mom is the one who thinks she has to do it all, has this perfectionist, has her little red cape, running around doing everything, taking the kids' hair there, and meanwhile trying to maintain a home and a relationship and everything that comes involved. Exactly, and a career on top of it all. And at the end of the night, she's exhausted and wondering what is she doing with her life. That is the super mom. The power mom has everything under control, so to speak, where she can ask for help. Not only ask for help, but accept the help once it's offered to her. Has a firm foundation and healthy boundaries for not only herself, her family, and her relationships, but also in her career. Too often we are in that trap of always saying yes. Sure, I could do that. No problem, I could do that. Sure, sure. Not taking the time to step back and really thinking and analyzing the situation. Should I really be doing that? Am I piling too much on my plate? This is crazy. I should step back and stop and learn to say no. And the power mom has no problem saying no, has no problem asking for help and accepting help.
Reading that, it was like you discovered a brand new word.
It was, yes, absolutely. No is the new yes in my book.
Yep. With 5 children and quite an age span, you also point out that the older ones could help with the schoolwork of the younger ones, and one pleasant good thing about that was that it reinforced what the older ones had already learned. And the first thing I thought of was that one-room schoolhouse. That's the way America kind of started.
And that's basically what we have in our home, is a one-room schoolhouse with all the different age ranges and all the different grade levels. And I have found that it does solidify their education and what they've learned. It reinforces everything that they learn when they go to share it with their younger siblings. And sometimes they're shocked that their younger siblings are teaching them something as well, because we can always learn. We're never too old to learn. And I've taught them that as well. And it has helped me tremendously too. It frees up some of my time when I can have the older ones teach the younger ones and oversee and make sure that they're doing it correctly.
And you have a room in your home for school. My nephew's wife homeschooled, they're 3 girls, and they had a room, and that was school. You didn't go in there and play. You didn't do a lot of things. That was for learning, for studying, and I think that in itself would reinforce what they were learning. You are a strong believer, and that's something we try to emphasize here, is the family traditions. And a lot of people have their very own twist on it, and they carry it through. But also the fact that food makes memories. I just, I was thinking about peanut butter cookies earlier and all. And I had a guest here named Debbie Titus, and she wrote a book called The Table Experience. and that there was certain things about that table that practically sacred. You know, there was no arguing at the table. You left no television and all this. And does that kind of thing fit into what you did?
And what I'm doing now in our home? Absolutely. We love having the children in the kitchen with us. At first, let me retrace. At first, before I determined I was a power mom and not a super mom, I didn't allow my children in the kitchen. My husband would be the one, teach them how to cook, and I was afraid. And now I allow them in the kitchen. They learn how to cook. They help in the whole cooking activity. We sit down as a family together and eat. Amongst our craziness of our schedules, we still have time to sit down and eat together as a family. It's very, very important to have that tradition in place.
Yes, and in her book she talked about the table, the first table that was made in Exodus, and how it was about the same size of our tables here, and it's very significant. I really like to get that across to my viewers, that there's so much in your life that's important that the world doesn't think it's important, and you think it's humdrum, but it's not. You also talk about the family that prays together.
Yes.
You know, I was born into a home that had family altar, and you know, however you do it, however you vary it, is so important.
Oh yes, again, the way I was raised was totally different the way I'm raising my children today, and I truly believe that the family that prays together stays together, and we have to take that time to, you know, if we're running around crazy trying to do everything on our own, we need to take that time to stop and thank God for everything that we're given and be grateful for everything that we have, and don't be jealous or envious of things that you don't have. I always bring back and tell the children, there are children out there that don't have half of the things that you have.
So
please be grateful for everything that you have. And they are.
I think you're a pretty tough mom. Your kids have to make their beds.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a daughter who, her room didn't come up to your standards. Tell them what you did.
Oh my goodness. I was tired of repeating myself. Asking her to pick up her toys and clean up her bed and stop slamming the door, stop locking the door, all the things that moms are constantly repeating on a daily basis. And one day when she came home from visiting her friends, she found her room with her items in a garbage bag, a black garbage bag, so she couldn't tell what was in there. I was very particular on that. And the door was removed. I removed the door. And she was in total shock because it was her room, so she thought. And I quickly reminded her that is not her room, that is our room. We allow her to stay in that room, and it needs to be kept tidy. She learned after that. She doesn't slam doors anymore.
You know, I've just had this visual picture since you told me that would be awful, especially for a young girl, to not be able to close her door.
Well, we started off with the knob. We took the knob off first because she kept slamming and locking. And that's one thing we don't allow is locking of doors. Heaven forbid something happens, I can't get into her room. So she didn't understand.
Reminding them it's not their room anyway.
Exactly. So. And she was 9 at the time. I think she still remembers this whole story of the whole removing of the door, but we took the doorknob off first. And that wasn't enough. She still didn't believe that I would remove the door, and sure enough, I did. I removed the door, and I think she was without a door for about a week before she was able to earn it back. It was funny. She had to keep her room tidy and her room, you know, her bed made until we returned her door.
A lesson will never be forgotten.
No,
ever.
Absolutely not.
You also mentioned that as they get older and they leave the nest and all, that you're not going to feel guilty about the decisions they make. Boy, this is so important. We have parents that are so beat down. Yes. They can find no joy in life. And I've told so many audiences that when you are born and God is standing there and you pop out of the womb, He hands you a free will. And He doesn't really mess with it that much. He's got a book here that says this is the best way you can do this, but you have that freedom. And was there just some reason that stood out to you, that you just, as they get older, it is the sense of you in the nest, they've flown off. So.
Letting go, absolutely. It was very difficult for me. of course, as a mom, you'd want your children with you all the time, but that's just not realistic. And so I know as a mom and as a parent, our ultimate role is to guide them, nurture them, love them, and set that foundation for them so that when they do leave the nest, they have all the morals and values and the whole toolkit, so to speak, so that they can live a successful life. And one thing I do share with moms is that you can't blame yourself for the decisions that they make. And you have to learn that early on, that if you send them away to school, if that's what you decide to do, they're going to be alone and make decisions on their own. And all you can really do is pray that the morals and values that you've taught them, that they're in there somewhere. You know they are, because you've taught them and you've lived by example, and you've taught them by example. And you just can't blame yourself. You can't beat yourself up. Like you said, the Lord gives us free will and the decisions to make, and we have to learn by those decisions. There's consequences for every decision that you make, and they may not be pretty, and you have to allow them to get hurt, and they'll learn from it. They really will.
Yeah, you can't really protect them anymore. I know for me, my kids are wonderful. I mean, they're married, they've raised their children to serve the Lord. No complaints there. My problem is I look back and wish I had done things different that I would have enjoyed more.
You can't blame yourself, though.
No,
you can't.
Because so busy, you know, building a church, blah, blah, blah. And you tend to beat yourself up. But this book will set you free. That website has been up there for a long time. What a great gift this would make. And so I hope that you will check it out. And I certainly would like the doctor to come back and we can get into a little bit more detail on this journey of parenting. It's the most important thing you'll probably ever do, but we are out of time right now. So please, please join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.